Hello, everybody. Welcome to Chillin with the Girlz. I am so excited about tonight. I have my nephew on here, Darius Cole, and he is just a phenomenal person. Like, he has a business called what was the name?
Active credit.
Active Credit LLC.
Don't even
So
know.
we want y'all to tune in, like, comment, and share. Subscribe to our channel. We're going to let him go and release him. And he's going to help y'all and help us come out of debt. Right, Darius?
Yes,
All
ma'am.
right.
Repair our credit.
Help me, Darius. Help me.
Repair my credit.
That's what I'm here for.
So how did you get started
Goodness.
in this?
So actually it started with myself, so I hit a wall. I pretty much was at a point where I needed to get a car and I really didn't have the funds to go ahead and buy one cash. So I was like kind of weighing my options. What could I do? Credit was an option that popped up. So, I pulled a copy of my credit report and it just dawned on me because it was something that I never, was really ever thinking about as a kid, anything like that. So now it was just kind of strange that I was just like this credit thing, and I always kind of been talking about it, but I just never understood fully what it was. So at that point in time, I was just, I need to go ahead and figure out what's going on with my life. So I pulled the report up and at my surprise, I was at a 466 and I had accounts and things in my name that I had no idea that was just, attached to me, so once I start learning, I start looking up companies and things like that to try to help me. But then I came across like something saying that basically you can dispute things on your own. So I was like, shoot, well, I don't got money. I don't got money like that. So let me go ahead and try to save some money and do some research and not be so lazy,
Right.
So that's what I started doing. I started researching. I started, making some letters. I sent a letter out to the bureaus for the first time. And from that first month, when they received my letter, my score jumped up from a 466 to a 612.
Oh.
And I was just like, what? So I just, so I had posted on Facebook. And when I had posted it on Facebook, it just went crazy. Like I had comments like I've never seen before, likes that I've never seen before. Like, how did you do it? Like, what you mean? And can you help me? And blah, blah, blah. So I'm like a light bulb when I'm like, okay, like everybody need credit, So I ended up meeting my mentor at that same unique time as well. His name is James Hunt. So between that and just doing things, and he plugged in the rest of the information I didn't know. So he tapped me in. He pretty much brought me into that world, showed me things that I didn't know, and just learned from him. And then grace of God, like I'm here today. So.
Wow.
That's
awesome. So you a CEO, Darius.
You know it.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yes,
oh my goodness.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm so excited about tonight's show. And just thinking about credit and stuff. So so how many like credit cards or something would you recommend somebody have?
As many as you can utilize. You don't want to overwhelm yourself. But me personally, I have 15 credit cards.
Gracious.
Are you serious?
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I have utilized credit over 500K. So that's how much credit that I have worth attached to my name. So I say that because I tell people you want your credit file to be as thick as possible.
Right.
You want to be paying on these active accounts so that way you can show whoever that you're applying to get any type of credit that you can manage that debt basically. And then not only just one singular type of debt, multiple different variations of that debt. So a credit card, mortgage payments, car loan, even student loans if you got it. And I tell people like y'all be wanting to get rid of them student loans. And a lot of times, I see when I pull a person's report, their student loans are perfect. No missed payments. Been open since they was kids, and then I tell people as well with them student loans, you want to look at the payment history, the meat of everything. So if you have that credit history, that longevity on that account showing that, that's been open for 15 years, your credit file is going to be way stronger versus somebody that's showing that they only had that account for 2.
Darius, I have a question.
Wow.
Someone is in a waiting room. Do you have someone else joining into this meeting or?
No.
Okay, let me just hit.
It's probably mommy, because you know how.
I don't. Stop
Yeah.
Stop telling
Okay.
me.
All right. I don't know who that was. All right. So, what actions hurt our credit?
For one, making late payments. That's one of the most crucial things that could, destroy your payments. I mean, your scores. Because payment history accounts for 35% of your score. So when you calculate that, you have to make up for 550 points, and you times that by 35%. That's over about 85 points. So you can lose up to that amount based on just making one late payment. So you can find yourself in the 7s, 700, high 700s. You make that one late payment, you right back down in 580.
Oh,
610.
Wow.
Depending on how long. Yeah, depending on how long that account's been open, it's crucial. So late payments, closing accounts, because when you close an account, only open accounts cater towards a good score. So when you close that account, you lose that connection.
Okay.
So your scores will drop, but if you have a account that can take that account's spot and replace it, your score will improve basically higher than it once was.
Wow.
So that's why I tell people you gotta build on top of accounts as much as possible.
Yeah.
And then another thing I would say is maxing out your credit cards. So maxing your credit cards out and not being aware of the statement date is definitely detrimental as well, because somebody can have perfect credit, no negative accounts whatsoever, or they could be going through a credit restoration process and get everything removed from their report, but they don't see the effective score change because they still maxing out their credit cards.
Wow.
Yeah. So those for me is the 3 main, ways that people, mess up on their credit.
And also, if you co-sign and the person you co-sign for is late.
Yup, irresponsible. Yup.
Wow.
So I never encourage co-signs. In fact, my mom, I always try to get on her credit, and she would never accept me. Never. And I'm like, Mom, I'm your son.
But you know what?
That's son. I remember I was trying to get a Subaru, and they was going to approve me, but they needed my mom as a co-sign. So I'm begging her like, Mom, come on, I got the money. Everything. She just was like, nope. And now that I'm older and in this field, I'm glad she did that, because it encouraged me to put myself there and basically grow my credit strong enough where I didn't need a cosigner anymore.
And Darius, do you know that's anti-biblical? That's against the principles of the Bible to cosign. It calls you really it's about 3 scriptures against that.
Wow. Something new today.
Wow.
Y'all,
You hear that, Tori?
I came on here to teach y'all. Y'all teaching me.
See? And Tori trying to get me to co-sign on the DL. You hear that, Tori? Not good to co-sign. Don't co-sign for nobody. Not even your child.
Nope.
It's not
not even your blood. Nope.
Right. Especially if they're not dependable.
Right. So what score do we need to get a house?
Anywhere between it used to be like 640. It might be that now, but from what I'm getting told now, it's 680 and above.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah, because I need 700 and above to get my house.
Okay.
Yeah. Can you talk about that? About buying a house and what they should do or shouldn't do in that process?
So basically, when you looking for a house, of course you want to, get a good relationships with, a realtor, a mortgage broker, that you have good communications with, and basically y'all in the same line of, the property that you're trying to get, and understand how you're trying to get it. So are you using your business name, through your business credit, or are you using your self-employed information, or do you work for someone? So all that information is very important, because if you're self-employed, you need a lot more paperwork to prove your income when it comes to closing on a house, So we help with certain situations like that. Myself, I don't directly help with that, but I delegate to people that works solely on that, you know. So I'm definitely I'm definitely key on basically people that are a master in their field, you know. We don't know it all, you know. So, you know, I would definitely, I'm glad that I have a team where I can delegate that information to, where they can go ahead and basically break down what a person needs when it comes to a mortgage and things like that. But also when it comes to their credit, to make sure that they're on time, you know, make sure they don't have a lot of outstanding debt that's not paid on. Because that's just going to waste your time. It's going to waste the mortgage officer's time as well. Just to let them say, hey, your credit is not good enough. You know, then you want to get these inquiries and things like that. That's just going to be more frustrating. So when you get to that point, you just want to know what you're looking for. You want to know what you qualify for, what you need to do before you even step in front of them, to be honest. So definitely, you know, ask questions when it comes to anyone that's, you know, helping you restore your information, to make sure that you're getting qualified for these houses before you even step in the front door.
Okay. And what can people do to improve their credit? That's what the question I want to ask you, as being a credit guru.
So it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. It's not one in particular thing that you could do to increase your scores. Is what do you need individually to increase your scores? Because somebody might need build up. You know, somebody might have 10 negative issues. So not only do they need to get rid of those, but they need to start adding accounts to increase their score. Somebody might already have an account established, but they need to pay down their credit cards to increase their scores. So it's just different aspects of what an individual needs. So that's why I always preach understanding your credit report. You'll be surprised at how many people pull their credit report and don't even know how to read it, don't even know what they're looking at. So that's what we do too. We do credit coaching as well. So that way people understand. So we give you month-to-month updates on your credit report, let you see exactly what's going on and break it down. And that's pretty much it.
I have a question. Now, if you have like medical bills and they'll send your bills to a collection agency, that kills your credit too, right?
Yes. So any collections, any negative derogatory information whatsoever is detrimental to your scores, especially medical bills. But with medical bills, they're more far common, easier to get removed because a lot of times, you know, with the medical facilities, if they're not in-house collections, basically them selling your information up to a third-party agency is illegal, you know, according to the HIPAA law. Yes. So the HIPAA law protects your information from medical facilities from doing that very thing, selling off your information to other people, because you sign a clause basically stating that, hey, you guys have my information, only you can have it, basically. So when they do that, they violate that law, and you can send in certain letters to state that to the bureau, so that way they can go ahead and remove that for you. That way you're out of not only the account, but also whatever debt they try to get you on.
Well, what is this like when they sell your bill to somebody else? To somebody else?
Yeah, it's a third party collection. So with whoever it may be, it might be like LVNB funding, Midland funding, Heart World, anyone, you know, collection agency, some, you know, off the wall name. But a lot of times when that happens, you never just want to pay off the debt. You want to challenge it, to be honest. You want to see if they on their stuff, because if you get a bill for $1,500 and you can actually get out of that debt, why not try, you know? Instead of just paying that significant balance, you could save that and then use that to utilize something else that might be more important, you know? So when you get letters like this saying that, hey, you owe us money, what you can do is send a validation letter to them first, basically requesting for them to send in certain information and paperwork validating that information to be true. So a lot of times third-party agencies have the bare minimum information against you in the first place, you know? So 9 times out of 10, they're not going to have this information to go ahead and show you and the bureaus. So 9 times out of 10, you're going to get the account automatically removed, and it won't go nowhere further to even go get placed on your credit.
Okay.
Wow. So you shouldn't ignore anything, because for an example, I had a bill just the other day, it was 300 and something the other month, and I paid it in July, but they sent me the bill and saying I still owed it. And so what I did, I just made a copy and mailed it to them. Okay. So I haven't heard anymore. And that's happened to me like 3 times.
Yeah, sometimes you got to do that, and that's it. Yep, and that's the thing about disputing and sending in information. Sometimes you have to keep doing it. Sometimes you have to keep sending it in, be persistent and consistent with the process, so that way you can get the outcome that you want. So that's great.
Now, does your company have those letters that we can send? Because some people don't know how to write.
Actually, yeah. So I actually created handwritten letters for different scenarios and situations that you might find yourself in. That you might kind of just want to, you don't want to let a company do it, but you want to do it yourself. You want to kind of understand the process. I did create handwritten letters that you guys can go ahead and purchase between $25 to $50 per letter, or you can get a bundle pack for $250 for everything: for disputing student loans, inquiries, bankruptcies, medical bills, student loans. I think I said that, but student loans, collection.
Somebody need to hear that. Student loans,
like you name it, even your personal information. If you need to change your personal information, update certain things, remove certain things, because people get married, people change their names, people move. You don't want to have 10 different addresses, from state to state or whatever the case may be, because that's a red flag in itself. So for the creditors, that flags to them that you're a flight risk. You're not stable enough for credit or whatever that you may be applying to. So you definitely want to get those that information down. But yeah, you can definitely utilize that. And the website is called activedisputesdiy.com.
That's oh my goodness.
And you something else has happened to me lately, because I've been going to the doctors. The same bill charged twice with 2 different account numbers.
That happens too. So that's why I say disputing and challenging. Just challenging those inaccuracies to get yourself out of that debt. Time and time again, I see that constantly on a lot of people's report, where companies are trying to get over on things that they spent pennies on a dollar on, that they never even don't really own themselves, that they never even did business with their original client. So you have to understand that they're trying to get over on you and use certain laws and predicaments against you. So you have to be aware of that and outsmart them and do the same thing with them against them.
Yeah. Okay. So when they do send your information to a third party, if that person actually bought your loan, you have to pay them back though, right?
Not necessarily. So that's why I'm saying that you want to challenge that, because you didn't necessarily did original business with them.
Okay.
You did business with Wells Fargo, or you did business with Santander, or you did business with T-Mobile. So where are these people coming from saying that, hey, you owe us a significant amount? Okay, since you're saying that, I need you to prove that to me. I need you to give me original documentation saying that I signed this, stating that I owe you this type of money. So a lot of times they can't prove this information. I'm not saying that they're not going to ever be able to prove this,
right?
But on the flip side, a lot of times when you can challenge it, that's your right as a consumer to challenge anything. The burden of proof is never on you; it's on them.
That's good.
Okay.
You have to use that. You have to use that. You have to use that as an advantage for yourself, so that way you can see if you can get out of debt. Because sometimes you might have to settle. Sometimes you might have to go ahead and pay off that debt. So I tell people that too. So if you're in a rush to get certain things removed, and it's maybe been 4-6 months that we've been disputing certain things, okay, now we have other options that we can utilize. You always have options when it comes to credit restoration. It might not be the option that you're seeking, because everybody wants things free. You don't really want to spend nothing, but sometimes we got to hold ourselves accountable and understand we did get that credit card. We did mess up, we got that loan, we did mess up. So if we owe them 15 and we've been disputing that for 6 months, and you really want to get that removed because you want to get that house, you want to go get that car, whatever the case may be, and they want to settle for 5, that's what you might have to do in order to go ahead and pay to delete that account. You don't ever want to just pay an account off that you owe, especially if it's a negative account. You never just want to do that. You want to agree to pay the account off for the removal of that account. Because even if you pay on the account, that it might boost you up. It may boost you up maybe 5, 10, 20 points, but it will never boost you up as if you remove that entire negative account from your credit report in the first place.
Okay. Wow. So, sometimes when you have a debt, and they say, well, you can pay this much and then we'll forgive that debt.
Oh,
That looks bad on your credit score too, doesn't it? On your report.
I was going to ask that.
So what do you mean settling as a collection, as a bad debt?
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
Like say if you owe 50,000 and they say, well, you can give us 20,000 and then we'll just settle.
Like you for yourself, you made off with 30.
Right.
So
right.
In itself, you're good, but on your report, no, it's
okay.
You want to get that gone. It's not nothing. It's not nothing pretty. You got a charged off account that's paid off. They don't want to see that. Because how they look at it is that because you can still get denied that way. Because they look at it as that we get that you settled with them, you got good with them, you paid your fair share. But why did he even get to that place that place in the first place? Why did it get to that state in the first place? That's how they're looking at it. So they'll deny you, just based on that.
Yeah.
Wow.
So how do you know it's taken off of, it's forgiven, it's taken off? So what do you do to find out about that?
So the bureaus will give you confirmation. So they'll send letters to you, your credit report, I should say. Every time you do dispute anything on your report, so they'll give you proof saying that, hey, this account was either removed. Oh no. Am I good? Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
Okay.
But they'll go ahead and give you documentation stating that, hey, this account was either removed or was verified, certain information like that. Or you can pull up your report and see that it's been wiped out. And sometimes clients even gave me letters stating that the company forgave it, or we disputed inaccuracies to the point where the company ruled in our favor and gave people refunds.
Wow.
Really?
I'm ready for that, geez.
Yeah, so that's definitely how people they scream, they getting a check, things like that. That's exactly why I do this. I love it. Helping people out, and just like the disbelief in what you could do with credit is just, it's just something I just love doing. So
wow.
We don't know. We don't understand it. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Right. So could I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
So could a creditor, like if you did like that settlement, could a creditor like send like a notice like saying paid in full and it won't show up on your credit as
Yes, exactly. So you want to get, like, if you don't get a pay to delete letter, because sometimes they be trying to be hard, and not try to, give you a hard time and not try to, why do they keep calling me? Oh my God. Yeah, all right. So sometimes they try to give you like a hard time, and not try to give you certain documentation to get that certain thing off. So yes, getting like a paid in full receipt will be the best next option. And you can still use that to try to, work the argument with the bureaus, because the bureaus really have the ultimate decision, to be honest, So if the bureaus, say, hey, take it off, then it's coming off, so that's something I find very important. So yeah, you could definitely do that for sure.
Good, very good. Okay.
I have a question. Explain to me, someone said if you're paying on something like over like 10, 15 years and you don't have to keep paying it. How does that work?
It's not that you don't have to keep paying it. The longer you pay on an open account, the better your scores and your overall credit will be. What he probably means is that, because after 6 months, especially a year, an account is what you consider established enough for a creditor to recognize and as a liable debt that you're maintaining. So that's why when we had that conversation earlier, that you putting Hulu on your report and you spending $15 a month on Hulu ain't really doing nothing or showing the creditor that you can really manage debt. All that's really doing is kind of increasing your score and trying to improve your credit.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
So is it important, like when I looked at my credit report, I had all these names on there, these different addresses, some of them I never even lived in. So how do you clear that? And is it important to get that off? Will that affect your credit?
Very, very important. And yes, it will affect your credit. It won't affect necessarily your scores per se. but it will affect underwriter's decision to approve you for that credit based on, you know, address and things like that. Because if they see you got 15, 20, 25 different addresses on your credit report, they're going to look at you like, you know, you unstable, you know, you might run off or whatever the case may be, whatever type of credit that you're getting applied for. Then also making sure that you have the right social. There's plenty of times where people's social is mixed up with another person, especially twins. Have that problem a few times where twins are social are messed up, where we have to go ahead and send in personal information letters, which you guys can buy on activedisputesdry.com for yourselves as well for only $25.
I put it up there too. It's on there.
Okay, cool. So
what is it? Okay. So what are you saying there?
No, I'm saying you could use the letters to basically change your information within your personal information, because the underwriters, people that's making the decisions, are looking at your personal information as well. So if you have certain things mixed up, it could actually block certain information from really showing in your credit report.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's plenty of times where people they don't even have enough information on the bureau, or the information is mixed and mingled with other information from someone else maybe, and it's so mixed up that the Equifax or whatever bureau can't verify who that person is, so they can't even pull up your report.
Wow.
How damaging is bankruptcy on your credit?
Bankruptcy is one of the worst things you can do. One of the worst things you can do.
Listen,
when it comes, you said what again?
No, I'm saying listen.
Oh, yes. So it's definitely one of the worst things you can do. You know, I understand sometimes you might have to do that. The only times I really encourage that, if you find yourself against the wall, you overflooding with bills. Every time you look left, right, you know, Uncle Sam needs something, you know, you got a bill that's, you know, that you got to pay. So only time I really recommend that is when that is occurring. But if you had the option to, you know, go through a credit restoration process or pay certain debts off, definitely do that, you know, because with bankruptcies, a lot of times people don't know, it's like you have to stay with this bankruptcy for 7 years. You know, half the time, if you don't understand how to dismiss a bankruptcy right and go through proper procedures to kind of cut that time in half. So, and when you got that bankruptcy, no matter what, it's kind of hard to bounce back, you know, because certain creditors, they see that bankruptcy, they automatically going to deny you. There's even certain credit building programs for starter accounts that say, hey, if you got bankruptcy, we're going to automatically deny you. And that's a starter account. So imagine a big grown account. You're not going to get that with a bankruptcy.
Wow. Well, let me just say something to virtual land out there. Darius is accepting live questions.
Yes.
So if y'all have questions, you know, y'all can ask them in the chat. Where, Tish, on YouTube? Where can I ask the question?
Wherever I can see them. Wherever. YouTube, Facebook.
Okay, YouTube.
I have a question from
Facebook, wherever. So ask your questions and get them answered on live, because I know people have issues with their credit and things, and you won't know unless you ask.
That's
right. I want to put that out there.
Here's the question. What about people using their children's name for credit? How do they clear that? How did the child clear it up? And does it says the child has to deal with that later. So how can the child clear that up?
I mean, by going through the disputing process, by identifying what's wrong with their credit report. It always starts with that, you know, get a copy of your credit report, and not Credit Karma. Get Credit Karma out y'all heads, because Credit Karma is not reliable. Like, you know, you can kind of use Credit Karma, you know, to kind of, you know, piggyback on certain things happening within your credit, but never solely rely on Credit Karma. You want to get an official site, like Experian.com, Identity IQ. I use that a lot for my clients. Smart Credit is pretty good. So you just want to get a bureau. I mean, if you want to get a credit monitoring company that's relaying, most importantly, all three bureaus, because Credit Karma only gives you two, guys. Like, you only get TransUnion and Equifax. What about Experian? You know? And then when you're going through the disputing process, if you find that it doesn't even tell you the full story either. So you might try to dispute certain information, and you need to know that account information. Credit Karma doesn't tell you that, you know? And then also Credit Karma sometimes updates information late. So that's why it's very important to get from the source, and definitely get something reliable for sure.
So that answers the questions if the child is saddled with those bills when the child grows
He
up.
said the child has to dispute.
You have to dispute it.
Yeah, dispute it. Yeah,
Well,
that's the only way you can do it.
Will they get the parents in trouble if they?
That was my
Oh
question.
no,
Okay.
nah.
They need to be in
won't.
trouble.
That was my question. Somebody
Some babies' credits alone.
somebody was telling me about somebody had asked them for their social security number, and who knows why they gave it to them, but they gave it to them anyway.
Wow.
And so come to find out that this person had an address under their social security number, and they had never even been to that state.
Wow.
Yep.
So
Right.
if they so if they dispute that person can't get in trouble. That they found.
Won't get in trouble. No, won't get in trouble at all. Like I said before, that's your right. That's your right to understand that it's inaccuracies in your report, and you want to correct them. So a lot of times, people think disputing means removal. Disputing can mean change. You know, disputing can mean add. So that's why we got really be and we gotta really be in tune with our credit report. I have like 2 different monitoring sites, at all times. Like anything happens, I have them for 2 different reasons because they give us 2 different functions. But anything that happens with my social, my credit, whatever, I'm being alerted immediately. This is very important, because you don't want people utilizing it. So many times when people come to me, hey, I got, credit cards and things like that. I have no clue where they came from, and people been getting loans in other people's names, and that's been like six months ago or 2 years ago, and people just not actively involved with their credit, not knowing this information. So if you were, you could have been caught this, when it first happened. You could have put yourself in position to avoid this, because even when you go into the disputing process, what we always do for all our clients, we put in what you call these security alerts. So it doesn't technically block your accounts, but it alerts you. So when you go to apply for like a credit card, a car, whatever the case may be, the underwriter, the loan officers at whatever bank or whatever facility, they give you a call first before they approve it completely.
Right. Yeah.
They give you a call. They say, hey, hey, Darius, did you apply for a car today? Yeah, that was me. Okay, we just wanted to make sure. And they'll go ahead and pull it through.
Okay.
Something else, Darius, I found that someone had my name, legitimate name, Mary L. Farmer, my same birthday too.
Wow.
And the police found that I'm driving in Virginia, and they pulled me over. And they, you live here? What are you doing? I said, I'm in Maryland. What are you doing here? You live here? I said, no, I don't. Then he kept researching, kept me a long time.
Yeah.
And researched, said that he found out, he had to use my social security number to find out that I wasn't that person. Then he found out that person was dead. He said, oh, he's dead.
That's
he said,
scary.
I know, finally you're not dead.
I have another question from from YouTube. What can you do to prevent future unauthorized accounts?
So like I said, so basically the best thing you can do is do a security alert. I never really recommend a freeze, because it's like when you do a freeze, it blocks everything, including yourself, Right. So and then to even try to unfreeze it, it's like it's somewhat of a hassle, and you might end up being freeze forever, because you might lose your information and be irresponsible, because when you freeze certain accounts, you have to give bureaus like a 6-digit code, all of this, and they got to mail it to you. So if you don't get that, then you got to find other ways to try to unlock your credit. So I definitely encourage like security alerts, because it's not too harsh. It puts a barrier on your credit, so that way, if somebody is trying to tap into your social, tap into your credit, and start adding those unauthorized trade lines when you report, they'll give you a call to verify that is you or not. So if it's not you, you be like, no, it ain't me. They're going to automatically deny it.
So is there a fee to get security alerts?
No, it's actually free. So they actually put it on there free, and they last for 7 years.
Oh, good.
So,
That's
I need security alerts. Wait a minute.
So you either can request it through paperwork, or you can call them on the phone and request for a security alert to be added.
okay, so who are we calling for that?
Yeah.
You can call you call in the main 3 bureaus. So you will call Equifax, Experian, and Transgen. Yes.
Wow.
Or send in a dispute to those 3 bureaus.
Okay.
Okay. So can you bounce back? Like, say if you had a department credit card, a department store credit card, and you kind of got behind, and so the store actually ended up forgiving your your debt or whatever.
Yeah.
But can you bounce back from that? Will that store ever give you another chance? How can you bounce back?
Actually, yeah. I found that enough times that they will give you another chance. Just by my personal experience, other clients' experience, because I'll get that same question. They'd be like, "Hey, can I go back to Capital One?" And I definitely say, wait at least 6 months to a year before you do. Especially if you got out of the debt, you got it removed from your report, and you didn't have to pay anything. So definitely want to, wait a little bit, because you don't want that to trigger for that account to reappear on your report. But that happened with one of my clients. We cleared out. It was crazy. He had Capital One. Actually, he had like a $3,000 or $5,000 credit card, and it was charged off. He came to me, cleared it out, and he went back 6 months later. They gave him a $15,000 credit card.
Good.
Wow.
Yep. Yep. So it's definitely possible.
But
Go ahead, Mother.
What about all these stores that want you to get one of their cards? I just deny them. All the stores. You want to get a card? Just deny them, right?
So, no. It just depends on your own interests. So if you like shopping at Victoria's Secret, then go get a Victoria's Secret credit card to take advantage of those rewards. If you like shopping at Nike, go get a credit card that's affiliated with Nike. So that way you can get Nike reward points and things like that. So that way you can utilize that and get more shoes or whatever the case may be from Nike. Never just get a credit.
Stores, not all these grocery stores.
No, so that's what I'm saying. So if it's not an incentive that's worth it, normally when you see those type of those store cards, from like Sears and things like that, the interest rate, the annual rate is jacked up tremendously.
Yeah.
So you don't want to just grab those cards if you're not effectively shopping at that store.
Okay.
Oh wow, that's good information. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Yeah. So when would you advise a person not to get a lot of credit cards? Because sometimes you said you can get credit cards and you can or can't.
Not when you can't handle it. If you don't got the cash flow, you can't make on time payments. Then don't get it. Only you know what you can handle. I can't tell you. I don't know what's in your pockets. So you got to be honest with yourself. Hey, I only make a certain amount. I only can afford 3 credit cards. There's nothing wrong with that.
Right. Yeah.
It's just the fact that understanding your weaknesses, and making them your strengths. And then flipping it, and then making sure you're leveraging your credit the proper way.
And you're not.
I have a question. So with COVID, a lot of people have lost their jobs and things like that. Are there programs or some place that I guess can forgive your debt or something due to COVID? Like if you lost your job or something like that, and you had credit cards and things like that.
I don't know any grants and anything like that personally. I know like when it first happened, I was directing people, helping them with the PPP loan and things like that, and trying to help them get funding when it comes to that, especially with new business owners. But other than that, the only thing that I am researching now is more so student loan forgiveness, because I have got questions like that. So I'm just not too wrapped up in it, so I definitely want to do my proper research. But definitely people should look into like any type of student loan forgivenesses at this point in time.
Okay.
So when they look up
Go ahead.
When they look up student loan forgiveness, what resources should they go to? Because sometimes some of those stuffs are scams, right?
Yeah. So like Sally Mae, Navient, of course, the companies that you have your student loans with, you want to see if they are giving out some type of forgiveness program, or like the government, trying to see if, the government is, releasing some type of funding or anything like that. They kind of see what coincides with what type of relief that you're trying to get in the first place. So that way you can see if it's real or not. Because if you're not hearing about any, like forgiveness or anything like that, that the government is pretty much informing people, then mainly it's going to probably be a scam, because mainly speaking, like Sally Mae and all of them is connected with the government, so.
That's really interesting, because I have been getting emails and things like that from, I don't know who it is, or even text messages about forgiveness or a grant that they would pay it off. And at first it was like, you have 30 days to respond. And now I have a whole year. I'm like, how did you just,
you definitely want to be wary of stuff like that. Not just giving anybody your information. That's for sure.
Right. Or click on those links or something.
Nah.
It's your last chance. So your last chance of getting this, deal. Your last next year is another last chance. How many last chances can give you? Last chances.
So Darius, can you remove inquiries from your credit report?
Yes. Yes, you definitely can. It's actually a few ways you can do that. So you can either send in a letter requesting for those unauthorized inquiries to be removed from your report. So that's one way for your inquiries to be removed. Or you can call the bureaus directly and request for them to be removed over the phone. So, sometimes that works. It doesn't work for everyone, if they do decide to remove it while you're on the phone, I know it normally takes between like 24 to 48 hours.
Okay.
Okay.
That's good. I never knew that. I thought it was just always on there,
Nah, so normally it's supposed to be on there for 2 years. But it's times where I see people's report and it's on there for 4. So stuff like that you want to stay on top of, so that way you're disputing inaccuracies like that, so that way your credit report is always in tip-top shape.
Right. So is there a law as to the amount of time, or the max amount of time? Okay.
Yes. So the Fair Credit Act law pretty much protects you when it comes to certain things like that. So that's why, they have that in place. 2 years is for inquiries, and then for negative information is about 7 to 10 years. And then good information, I believe, stays on your credit for about 15 years.
We have another question. What's the ideal credit portfolio for a 750 to 800 credit score?
So ideally, if you're in the 7s, it would probably be a few credit cards, a few high limit credit cards. Well, it really would. To be honest, it really doesn't matter. It's just if you have credit cards. So credit cards, credit cards are what you call a revolving line of credit. So you want to have a revolving line of credit for sure. An installment loan. So an installment loan is any type of loan. So it could be a car loan, it can be a student loan, it could be a mortgage loan, it can be a personal loan. So when those two mix in a combination that appears on your credit, you open yourself to be in a 700 window. And then to answer his question, to tap into the 800s. So there's 2 ways you can do that. You can have so much of the first 2 that I just mentioned that you got so much debt, you accumulated, you've been on time for so long that you automatically place in the 8s. Or another easier way, you might not have the history, but you have the different diversity of accounts. So you have the 2 that I just mentioned, which is revolving lines of credit, which are credit cards, installment loans, which are any type of loans, and then mortgage, real estate. Okay. So once you got real estate debt, that's when it's easy to tap into the 800s, and then you could pretty much get approved for anything.
Wow.
So how is it against your credit if someone who applied for a loan and they sent the information out and if they're denied? Like, it goes all over the world, So how is that against your rating?
So it depends on, like you said, like if they're running your credit in multiple banks and things like that, because that could definitely ruin your credit, especially when you're trying to, a lot of people get cars. you know, and their credit might not be up to par, or they might not have a certain relationship with the dealer. So like with me, when I go get cars and things like that, I have a relationship, and then on top of that, my credit's good, of course. So I get my credit, I get my credit ran once. So if I'm denied, I'm denied, you know, but you know, I'm always improved. So I get approved with that one inquiry, and then I'm not hit so hard. But other people that don't have that relationship or doesn't have a proper credit report, they're trying to find funding from someone. Yeah. So they might have 20 different relationships with banks, or 30, you know, so you might get approved for one, but with that one, you don't know in the background that they shopped your credit with 20 other banks that did the same inquiry, and that you could lose up to 1 to 5 points for each inquiry. So over time, that's stacking up. You could definitely be losing enough of scores, and you know, from your credit report and your scores, of course.
So if you apply for credit and you got turned down, and it hits your score and messed your score up, how long should you wait before you apply again?
So that's mainly up to the creditor that you apply to. So sometimes it's 30 days, sometimes it's 60 days, and then sometimes it's 90 days. So it just depends on the terms for them and when you can reapply. But if you got denied the first time, you want to look at that denial letter. They're going to either mail it to you or send it to your email. They're going to send you in some type of format, and you want to read that. You want to understand why you got denied. You know, you don't want to just overlook that. So if you got denied because your credit card balances are too high, make sure you pay on your credit card balances and then reapply when you can, you know. So a lot of times people do that. They overlook the denial and then they just, I'm denied. Oh, I give up. Blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you can't do that. You have to realize why you got denied. Read that, understand that, and change whatever predicament that got you denied in the first place. So that way, when you do reapply, you want to get approved.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, this is some good information. Oh my God.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
You got to read that fine print too. I need a magnifying glass to read it. So
okay,
you don't want to read it.
For people out here, how do I read my credit report?
How do you read it?
Yes, how do I understand it? I know it's a loaded question.
Yeah, that's like, all right. So I'm gonna do my best. So basically, what you want to understand is those different types of accounts that I just named. So revolving lines of credit, installment debt, and real estate debt. So you want to understand what makes up your scores.
Okay.
You don't just want scores. You want to understand why your scores are the way that they are.
Okay.
When you understand that, then it's easy to read a credit report, you know? So if you know you got an installment loan, and you're only at a 660, then you know that you need to add a credit card to expose yourself in the 700s, because having different accounts exposes an extra 10% to 15% mix of your credit scores. So that's why your scores shoot up like that. So when you don't have that diversity of different accounts, you lose that extra percentage.
Okay.
Yeah. So you basically just want to understand the different types of accounts that are in your report, and then basically break it down like that, because it's not really that complicated. And then on top of that, you want to identify negative issues as well. So you want to identify if you got collections. You want to identify if you got charge-off accounts. You want to hone in on these keywords: charge-offs, collections, revolving accounts, installment accounts. You want to get familiarized with these terms. When you do that, then you can break down, okay, I see why my other two scores are a 680, and then this score is a 600. I got a collection that's sitting on here. Let me see if I can go ahead and dispute this and get this removed.
Okay.
So because you don't see it on the other two bureaus, because you got to look and compare every bureau next to each other, because one bureau might have certain information that another bureau might not have. And you got to identify that. You got to figure out, why is this score higher than that score? Right. What makes these two bureaus different from each other? You know, so when you identify that, that's the best way I can really explain on how to read a credit report.
Wow.
So like when I'm looking at, because I have score sense, right?
Okay.
So I'm looking at all three of the credit bureaus and everything. I noticed that some stuff is not on Equifax, but it's on the Experian and other ones. So how do I dispute that? Like, how do I sell them? Because one of them, like my credit is pretty good. I pay my bills on time and all that kind of stuff. But one doesn't show like one of my installments. So how do I add that to it? I'm trying to get on here now.
So sometimes creditors might not be in a position to add that. And that does happen.
Okay.
You know, so you can ask them just to double check. Hey, I didn't see it report in their Experian. Do you guys report to Experian? So sometimes they might say, no, we just only report to TransUnion or Equifax, or they might report to one bureau. So not every time that you apply to a creditor, it reports to every bureau.
Okay.
So that's why I always stress the importance when somebody's just building their credit, starting with their credit, to get a secure loan, to get a secure credit card, because when you get a secure loan or a credit card, those accounts are designed to help build your scores evenly.
Okay.
Okay. That was one thing I was thinking. Like, there was a program, it was not in Maryland, it was a different state, and they were helping like low income, home families and whatever. And so in the program, they encouraged them to get, I believe it was a secure bank loan. And then once you get the loan, don't spend that money, just pay it back every month. So that would help build your credit as well, right?
Exactly.
I have a question. I asked for my report. Now, one company just sent it right out. The other company sent a paper, wanted all my information on it, my social security number and all. So why is that? Why would one just send you a report and the other one want detailed background information of you, like all that stuff?
So I believe you might be, because which one just sent, it depends on the company that sent that. Do you remember the company that just sent your report like that?
There was the three, I sent it to the three major ones that you always send it, and I can't remember which one it was.
Okay, so mainly, I think I know you're talking about. So when that happens, they already have your information. So that's why they know it's you requesting your report. So that's why they're just sending it out to your mail, because they're sending it to your mail, because that should be you receiving that credit report.
Okay.
Because your information is already registered with that company, versus the other company, your information isn't registered. So they have to require certain information from you, like your social, your name, your address, all that information, so that way they can match it to the bureaus and pull your information for you.
I'm skeptical when they say social security number, so.
Yeah. So they they definitely gotta have your social, so that way they can pull your report.
Wow. Okay. So do they still mail your report, or can you get it online?
You can get it online.
Okay.
Definitely get it online. It's many sites that you can get your report from. So you got Experian.com, you got Equifax.com, TransUnion.com, myFICO.com, Privacy Guard, Identity IQ, ID Club. I can go on and on and on.
Wow.
So yeah, like it's plenty enough sources. ScoreSense, Tish was talking about. So those are really good as well. So.
And all those are free. It's free, huh?
No, ScoreSense is not free, but it's like $12 a month, though. It's not a lot.
Yeah, so you can get a copy of your report once a year for free from annualcreditreport.com.
Okay.
But again, it's one time, So if you trying to start a credit restoration process, then that's just not going to work for you.
Right.
Okay. So like right now, if no one has gotten it that 1 year, they can go to all three of those: TransUnion, Equifax, and what's the other one? TransUnion, Equifax, and Experian, right?
Yeah.
And they can get their credit report online for free.
Yes, but only at annualcreditreport.com.
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 Yes.
Okay.
So they'll give you a copy of your credit report once a year for free.
And you'll get from all three of them.
All three bureaus, yes.
Okay. Wow, very good. Okay.
That's good. Oh my goodness.
Reese is on here. So we got some good, I don't know who Jam is, but he was the one asking the question, I believe.
Right, Jamarius.
Is that Jamarius?
It sounds like it.
So we have our manager on here. That's a shame. Ken is on here.
Ken, hi Ken.
Of course, Sharice is on here, and Tina Avery, mom, is on here. Yeah.
Oh, Avery, okay.
So, how much do you charge? Because we want people to get help. So, how much do you charge for credit?
Actually, I have a sale going on right now. For the last month of September right now for $350. So that include all negative issues that we identify in your credit report.
Okay.
But with the sale, it only includes a limited amount of rounds that we dispute items for you.
Okay.
So pretty much for like 3 months, we'll be disputing things. You definitely are guaranteed to see results or your money back. So it's not like you pay $350, we go through a 3-month, phase, you don't see any results, and it's like, damn, I just gave this guy $350 for no reason. No. So if nothing happens, then of course we'll, gladly refund your money. But I'm for sure on my work. Mainly everyone that comes to our company sees immediate results within the first 45 days.
Okay.
Those results just may vary, so that's why I always preach about the process and understanding your report, and just keep honing in on and basically what's on negative issues, and then keep working at it until everything is completely gone. Or if you don't want to, take advantage of the sale, you can opt to go ahead and do the regular plan where there's no limited amount of rounds. We'll be working with you until everything is completed and removed from your report and you're satisfied with the service as a client. But with that quoted price, it just varies from client to client because everyone's issues are different.
Right.
Okay.
So whatever the quoted price is, we do accept payment plans. So for instance, my lowest price is $650. So if we do say, hey, this will be a level 1, process $650, you can actually split that in half, get started with $325 down. You'll see immediate results within the first 45 days. We'll keep catering updates for you every 45 days, but with the initial first 45 days, we'll send an update, let you know with the progress, what happened, and then a following invoice. That way, that one-time fee or whatever the quoted price, in this case is $650, that's completely it. And we'll just keep working, with you and coaching you through credit until everything is clear.
Okay.
That's a good point.
Does your company help people get out of their timeshares?
Yes. So if you got charged off timeshares and things like that are in your credit that's hanging over your head, we do successfully remove those as well.
What? How much
is that?
It just depends on how much you owe, how old it is, all that great stuff. So it's a free consult, so I do offer free consult. It doesn't cost you anything to, take some time out for us to talk. So if you are interested in a consultation with me, just let me know. I'll send you an email to get a clear copy of your credit report. We'll go ahead and, talk about it. And then based on, what I see, you'll end up getting it at quoted price. But normally if it's just like one account, I probably just charge it $350, to be honest.
That is excellent. That just came to me. So that's for somebody out there.
Yes, and before you go, let's talk about this dispute letters. And I already put that website up there.
Okay.
Disputes DIY. What letters can you offer them? What type of letters?
So I mean, everything under the sun. So It's just like any issues, like I said, any issues that you have in your credit, to personal information needing to be changed, added, or removed, to specific counts being removed from your report. So student loans, medical bills, collection bills, inquiries, charge off accounts, credit cards. So all of those type of different letters are all on that website. So because you might be a person that just, hey, I don't got a collection and stuff, I just got inquiries. You just go buy the letter for $25.
Okay.
And you go ahead and fill in the spots and everything like that. And I'm uploading videos that basically puts more emphasis and pretty much gives you direction on how to even use the letters in the first place. So catch that on YouTube soon. That'll be coming out to my YouTube page, Credit Guard TV. But other than that, that's pretty much it, though. You could just, use those letters to pretty much utilize whatever issues that you may have individually. Or if you have all the issues in a combination, you can buy in a bundle pack for $250.
All right. Well, let me get Terrell. Hey, Terrell. Terrell's is on here. He wants to know, how can active credit help someone with a fluctuating 720 to 760 score with no negative issues like charge off, wait a minute, it jumped up, charge-offs or collections. And he said, are apps like Credit Karma, Experian, and MyFICA reliable or good? Yes, they are good. They often report different scores simultaneously. Is there one that is most reliable? And we have 1 minute to answer his question.
No. So that's why I tell scores mean nothing. You always want to look at your account information. So if you have no negatives, you got great accounts, you got many accounts, then overall your scores will be great no matter where you apply to. And then on top of that, wherever you are applying to, you want to make sure you have debt that backs up what you're trying to apply. So if you're trying to get a credit card, make sure you got other credit card debt showing that creditor you know how to handle a credit card. You want to get a car, make sure you got car debt to show the dealer that you know how to handle car debt. And then you always will have a tip-top score for whatever you're trying to apply to. So that's why you're always going to see a significant change in your scores. Always.
Right. So thank you
Credit
so
Karma
much,
is not
Mr.
good. Credit
Cole.
Karma is not good.
Thank you so much,
Nah.
Mr. Cole, for coming on here.
Yeah,
And I'm
thanks for
putting
having me.
information out there. We really, really enjoyed this.
Really,
Yes.
really, really. Yeah.
We might
Appreciate
have
it.
to
I appreciate
bring
it. I
it
had
back.
fun.
We're gonna have to bring them back. We can bring
Yeah.
them
Yeah, for sure. Let me know. Let me
All right.
know.
So thank you so much for
Thank
joining
Thank you.
MLF
Thank
Chillin
you.
with the Girls, and we will see y'all next
Yes, good night,
Friday at
guys.
6
Love
o'clock.
you
Good
all.
night.